I've been hearing some chatter surrounding the San Antonio Spurs from fans who claim that they made a mistake trading for De'Aaron Fox and that they should rectify this error by trading him now that they have Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper to man the guard duties. But to me, this is completely ridiculous because for starters, you didn't know you were going to get both of these guys. At the time of trading for De'Aaron Fox, you simply knew that you had a generational talent in Victor Wembanyama and you needed to get someone who could get him the ball because you and I remember his first season in the league when his teammates could not find him. He would be wide open for oops. They would not throw him the ball. He'd be streaking down the court. They would not throw him the ball. He would be posting up with a mismatch because basically everybody on the court is a mismatch for him, and they would not throw him the ball. They would chuck up weird shots. They would make weird, strange plays, strange decisions. And you knew watching the tape that you needed somebody competent to get him the ball. And De'Aaron Fox just so happened to be available because the Kings have made every good player available that they've had for the past 15 years. Tyreek Evans, DeMarcus Cousins, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton. They've made everybody available. And you didn't have to give up that much for him. Yes, you had to pay him, but looking at the contract, it's not that egregious when you consider how much the absolute top guys in the league are getting paid. De'Aaron Fox is incredibly good. He averaged 25-7 for the Kings whenever they made their last playoff berth. And you got him for what, $30 million a year? Not a bad contract in the slightest. Now, of course, you did get Stephon Castle and you did get Dylan Harper, two guys who are playing exceptionally well. But to me, I don't see a problem in having all three of them. Yes, the Phoenix Suns tried this, right? They had Isaiah Thomas, they had Goran Dragic, they had Eric Bledsoe. They tried the three-headed snake approach. And it performed pretty well, but it didn't perform as well as they wanted it to. They were 45, 48 wins, somewhere toward the bottom of the playoff race, 8-9. They didn't really make any real noise. But to me, the reason why this is different, having three guards like Stephon Castle, like Dylan Harper, like De'Aaron Fox, is because of Wemby. Wemby makes it possible. Much like the Golden State Warriors basically didn't have any shooting outside of Steph and Clay. Andre Iguodala, league average, below league average during his time in Golden State. Draymond Green, he had one elite season. Other than that, he's been league average or below every single season as a three-point shooter. Sean Livingston, elite from the mid-range, not a three-point shooter. Maurice Spates, elite from the mid-range, not a three-point shooter. David Lee, mid-range, not a three-point shooter. Andrew Bogut, couldn't shoot. Harrison Barnes, league average. All of these guys were league average or below for the period where Steph and Clay and Dre were dominating the league. They were all league average or below. But the reason why they needed mid-range shooters and cutters and passers and smart decision makers was because Steph and Clay were so OP as three-point shooters that you didn't need more three-point shooters. You would just be adding too much shooting to a team that already had so much in two guys. You needed guys to do other things, to cut, to make the right pass, to rebound, to defend, to hit the mid-range. Because whenever you're so focused on the three, the mid-range is going to be open. And those Sean Livingston mid-range jumpers, those Maurice Spates mid-range jumpers, they killed you. They crushed you psychologically because you were so focused on Steph and Clay, who were probably already going off. And then Maurice Spates hits a jab 15-foot pull in your face. And you're like, oh, I can't do it. And then Sean Livingston hits one in your mouth from 13, 15, 17 feet. You're like, oh, no, you can't handle it. That's why it worked. Now, in San Antonio, the same dynamic is at play, only different in its constitution. What I mean is, Wembanyama makes it possible for them to run three guards because Wembanyama is both the wing and the center. His wingspan allows him to cover essentially half the court whenever he is playing defense. He can poke you from one side of the key to the other side of the key. I've seen it in the highlights. You've seen it in the highlights. He has alien arms. So he is a wing, not only on offense because he can hit a jab midi. He can play like a Kevin Durant. He can play like a Larry Bird almost in his skill from the wing. But defensively, he guards like the best wing defender you could possibly imagine. He is truly a one-of-one. And thus, you don't need any wings. You don't need a 3. You don't need a 4 because he is the 3, the 4, and the 5 combined. In his ability to weak side protect, in his ability to guard post-ups, in his ability to recover on defense, even better than Giannis did in his prime, in his ability to lock up like a Scottie, like a Kawhi, like a Bruce Bowen. He can do all of this. So he covers all of the mistakes that a Dylan Harper, a Stephon Castle, or a De'Aaron Fox would make on the perimeter. And since he covers those mistakes, while offensively being absolutely limitless, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper can play off of him. You can stagger their minutes. They'll all play 30-plus a game. And you just run the tempo. And you run the pick and roll. You run the pick and pop. And you put pressure on the defense. You have 3 guys who can attack downhill. 3 guys who can hit floaters. 3 guys who can hit threes. 3 guys who can hit middies. 3 guys who can play with pace and can go super hard, super fast to the rim. 3 guys attacking downhill. 3 guys putting psychological pressure on a defense. With Stephon Castle, with Dylan Harper, with De'Aaron Fox, that is going to cause the defense nightmares because you have to deal with those 3 guys, and then you have Victor Wembanyama gluing it all together. I think they're going to be great. I don't think they need anything else outside of more competent role players, I'd say. I think their role players are fine right now, but you can always look for better. You can always look for an improved version of your 3-and-D guy or your backup center or your backup point guard. You can always look for better versions of that. But fundamentally, those 3 guys with Victor Wembanyama, I think they're starting a new movement in the league. Not a new movement that people are going to be able to copy, but one that people are going to try to copy. They're going to try to copy this, perhaps, because they see how effective it will be, but they will fail because Victor Wembanyama is a one-of-one. This only works with him. Much like Steph Curry was a one-of-one, is a one-of-one. You cannot replicate this with a Trae Young or a Damian Lillard because Steph Curry is A, not as bad of a defender, but B, he is that much better of a shooter. He is that much better of an offensive talent than Steph Curry and Damian Lillard. And yes, the numbers don't prove that, at least when you look at the raw stats, the points, the assists, stuff like that. But when you actually look at the eye test, when you look at the way he moves a defense, when you look at his efficiency in the paint, from the mid-range, from 3, every single spot on the court, he is light years beyond Trae Young, light years beyond Damian Lillard, which is saying something because those guys are really good too. This is why I think it's going to work, and this is why I think they don't need to trade De'Aaron Fox. Now, granted, if they go for a more traditional approach, they get him a 4 or they get him a better 3, better than Harrison Barnes, and they try to rework it that way, I think they'll also be successful. But I think they don't need to trade De'Aaron Fox, and I don't think it was a mistake going for him. A, because the context, you didn't know you were going to get these guys, and B, because I think it could work. I think you have something special here with these 3 guards and Victor Wembanyama really just putting so much pressure on the defense and giving you nightmares defensively themselves because these guys, they can pick you, they can poke you, and they're going to play aggressive on the outside. And with Wembanyama making up for their mistakes, they can afford to be a bit aggressive on the outside. They can afford to go for extra steals. They can afford to play you a little bit tighter up top because if they get beat, Wemby's got them. And as long as he's healthy, they can really, really, really play aggressive up top. So with that, I say, let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love, peace. This is New Da Vinci. Have a blessed day.